I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Silly Jedi! Silly Jedi!
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Hello, what have we here?
Hello there.
At last! Where have you been?
Nice of you guys to drop by.
Ah, good. New acquisitions.
I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Car Talk, the official podcast of Jedi Toy Masters. I'm Maurice. I'm Jedi Toy Master Dad. For those of you that have watched any of our videos on YouTube, you'll know I'm Jedi Toy Master Dad. I'm the, the ringleader of this motley crew known as Jedi Toy Master. We're a Star Wars family, and we do a lot of videos here on YouTube, and we post a lot of stuff on our Instagram page where it's just celebrating our love of Star Wars, and me as a dad getting to share that love of Star Wars and introduce that love of Star Wars to my sons. I have 3 boys, and we all love Star Wars. And it's funny because each of my boys enjoy a different segment of Star Wars. So you can kind of see it if you watch some of our videos, and you kind of see their personalities. You know, my oldest is just obsessed with Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, and my middle guy, he just loves the Mandalorian, and he loves all of that. And my little guy, he kind of loves a little bit of everything. So it's a love fest for Star Wars. They even like the sequels. So hot topic here on this channel and on this show and on this podcast. So anyway, if you're listening to this in podcast form on Spotify or Anchor or Apple Music or wherever, thank you for listening, and I hope you stick around and subscribe. And if you're listening to us in iTunes, I think, or Apple Podcasts or the app or something, if you write a review, it helps the channel tremendously. It helps the show tremendously. It helps, I guess, the algorithm let other people know about this show. So I've been just absorbing everything that has been going on in Star Wars. And let me preface all that by saying, if you're new, this is Star Wars Car Talk. We don't talk the cars of Star Wars because there are no cars, although spaceships are meant to be cars because George Lucas was a motorhead and he loved, cars and racing and all that. So there is that sense of spaceships are like the ultimate car. But no, we're not talking cars. We are talking Star Wars while in the car. So if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, you'll see that I'm driving. I'm in the car driving, and this is kind of my commute and my time to express my thoughts on the Star Wars. So getting back to the topic at hand, a funny thing these last few weeks, and it's just been absorbing all the Star Wars stuff and news that have been coming out, and this show is bi-weekly, so we do miss some news, when it first happens. But we did post a reaction video yesterday, as the time of this recording, yesterday on our YouTube channel, which was a reaction to watching the second trailer, really teaser, for the Obi Wan show, and it was action-packed. I gotta say, I was really impressed. Although it was, as some people pointed out, it was kind of like half of it was like a recap of what was in the previous teaser, and then we kind of got teased some more. So it's like, if you really play both of these 2 trailers or these teasers back to back or side by side, you can tell the pacing and the information that's being given is very similar. Like, in the first teaser, we got, we got that shot of Uncle Owen, but it's just like a shot of his face looking all worried. And in this one, we basically get him reading a line, basically giving Obi Wan Kenobi the biggest burn in the galaxy when he tells Obi-Wan, you got to leave us alone. You got to just disappear. And Obi-Wan's like, he has to get trained eventually. I gotta, eventually he's gonna have to get trained. And Uncle Owen, man, with the burn, he's like, oh yeah, like you trained his father? Huh? Yeah. How did that go, Obi-Wan? old Ben Kenobi. Huh? Man, it was like, what a burn. I mean, it was fire. But, so you get that, and you get a couple more lines from Obi-Wan. Basically, you get the feeling that Obi-Wan is talking to other Jedis. And I think, I forgot his name, but he's in the trailer for like one shot, looking all worried and panicked. And I think he's a Jedi, because if you look at it, if you freeze, he's wearing the robes. He was in the Eternals. Oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. But you kind of get the feeling that he's a Jedi, and that Obi-Wan is maybe helping other Jedi kind of like escape or kind of stay silent or hide or whatever. So these lines that he's saying, you got to stay hidden, the war's over, we lost, like all this stuff is kind of he's lost hope is basically what it is, as opposed to, and if you remember in Star Wars Rebels, that holocron that Kanan had, where it was like a holocron of Obi-Wan. You saw it right in the first episode of Rebels, and it was basically Obi-Wan basically saying like, hope isn't lost. Like, I mean, it was very optimistic. It was like, yes, doom and gloom. Yes, this is a dark time, but don't lose hope. And here it seems like after 10 years, I guess, of just, to him being alone and just hearing of stories, all these travelers going through Mos Espa and stuff like that, and in Tatooine, and hearing all these stories of how the Empire is growing and taking over, and this menacing figure of Darth Vader. It kind of it's put Obi-Wan in this like funk, in this like realization of like, oh my gosh, it's all hope is lost, like we lost. But I think that's what the purpose of this show is. This show is going to be showing this time period in Obi-Wan's journey, and getting to the point where he is optimistic about the future, and will hopefully be ready. Not hopefully, he will be ready. So when Luke, the Force basically guides Luke to him, or brings Luke to him in the right moment, in the right time, he'll know this is it. This is the moment. This is the time. It's time to do it. And the message from Leia was it. Like, the chances of Leia, Luke's sister, getting the droids, the droids that he should recognize. I mean, he saw them, he interacted with them, especially R2. And the fact that, like, here she is in a hologram asking him for help, and who brought the message? Luke, the brother. So, all that was like basically the Force orchestrating it, saying now is the time. So that'll be cool. And also the idea that Vader and Obi-Wan will face off again. Really, it's Anakin and Obi-Wan again, because this is kind of like, even though he's been Vader for like 10 years or whatever, but there's still a lot of Anakin in there. Hence why they cast Hayden Christensen to play him. So that'll be interesting, because there's two lines, one in New Hope and one in Jedi, that are interesting, and that is that in A New Hope, Vader says, when we last met, I was but the learner, now I am the master. And you see, like, when they last met on Mustafar, he was but the learner, but he didn't fully know what the dark side was, or the dark side, the power of the dark side. Like, Vader always said that, you don't know the power of the dark side. Well, he didn't know the true power of the dark side during that battle on Mustafar, hence why he lost, and why, he was but the learner, but still, like, it does open it up to interpretation, and that there could have been another meeting between them. And I think that meeting, this show is going to end where Vader thinks Obi-Wan's dead. I think, because, again, in A New Hope, Vader says, I felt a presence I've not felt since, and he kind of like lingers on that. And then when he tells Tarkin, Tarkin basically says, Obi-Wan Kenobi, alive? Like, he's surprised that this guy's alive. I thought he was dead, so it's, I think that's kind of like how how it should go, basically. Like, yes, they battle, they meet again, but in the end, maybe through the battle or whatever, Vader must think that Obi-Wan perished, or that he beat him. And again, in A New Hope, during their lightsaber battle, he says to him, you should have not come back. You should have never come back, or you should have not come back, something like that. And so that's kind of also saying, yeah, I thought you were dead. You should have stayed that way. You should have stayed me thinking that you were dead. Like, you should have not come back, because now I'm going to destroy you or whatever. So that's going to be interesting. And then in Jedi, Return of the Jedi, when Luke allows himself to be captured, and they're having that conversation on the bridge and on Endor, Vader, says, when Luke is telling him, there's still good in you, I can feel it. Vader says, Obi-Wan once thought as you did. You don't know the power of the dark side. Well, that also shows that, well, then at some point, Obi-Wan, did try to reach out to him and win him over. Who knows? So all this stuff comes into play, and this is all things that the storytelling for this show, that they can have fun. The storytellers and the writers, they can have fun with all this information and kind of broaden the story and tell a really cool story. So I'm really excited about this. It's funny how this teaser put less of an emphasis on the Grand Inquisitor, and basically was showing this other Inquisitor, I think her name is Rava, something like that, and how she is the one that's like pursuing Obi-Wan. That's interesting. I don't know if I wonder if that's by design, or if in the show the Grand Inquisitor isn't really a major character. Maybe the other Inquisitors are the ones that are the major ones, and maybe the Grand Inquisitor just comes out to kind of like, maybe at the first episode you see him and then you don't really see him again. Because I gotta say, looking at it again and looking at behind the scenes photos of the Grand Inquisitor in the show, I just can't get over it. It just doesn't look good. Even his costume looks a little like loose fitting, and for some reason, in my head, the Grand Inquisitor, especially from Rebels, he's this like long, thin, the outfit fits him it's very form-fitting. He's very like, he's not bulky, he's not wide at all. He's just this very slim guy. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, this just doesn't look like the Grand Inquisitor. It's just off, and I'm kind of disappointed. I don't want to hark on it because I know a lot of people have, but excuse me. It's just, man, I don't know. I really hope that when the show airs, maybe we're not seeing the full picture. Maybe there was still some. I'm still holding out to the idea that perhaps they weren't finished doing some kind of CG or effects to him. That's kind of what I'm thinking, hoping at least. Never lose hope. But so the Obi-Wan trailer ends with the breathing and with you seeing Vader kind of getting put together by his little machine that he has in his lair. You see the arm come on, you see the chest plate get plugged into his like chest and stuff, and it's really cool imagery. Like, we've not really ever seen this before, except maybe through expanded universe stuff and like more recently like in the comics. But man, just to see it, and fan films. There's plenty of fan films about Vader. But man, I think I'm more excited to see Vader and see Anakin again than I am to see Obi-Wan again. I gotta be honest, like, Ewan McGregor is Obi Wan Kenobi. I'm super stoked to see Ewan McGregor as Obi Wan Kenobi. Like, just from like an actor's perspective, just to see him. I'm not that I'm an actor. I'm just saying, like, just like from an artistic perspective, the idea that he hasn't played this character since like 2005, and here we are, how many years later, and now he's like jumping back into this role, and like that's just got to be so interesting. so fascinating. I mean, like, I'm just so curious, like, what he did to prepare for the role. Like, did he rewatch the prequels? Did he watch any of the Clone Wars show? Because, I mean, there have been reports that Hayden Christensen apparently has binge-watched the Clone Wars and Rebels to prepare for this. And I think that is fantastic. Like, I think that totally means that he's taking it serious. Because I always wonder about things like that. Like, when there's already established stories and established, continuities and stuff and character development in other media, and now an actor is going to be that person somewhere else, like, do they take any of that into consideration? And a lot of times, a lot of actors sometimes don't do that. They'll say, no, I wanted to make it my own. I didn't want to. And like, in some cases, I think that's okay. But when it comes to Star Wars and just how everything's connected and the continuity and all that stuff, like the canon and all that, like, if you're an actor and you're asked to play a character that's already been established in other media, especially an animated show or in other movies or whatever, and now you're being asked to play this character, like, you better do your homework. You better go back and watch all that stuff. Like, Donald Glover, when he played Lando for Solo, like, he went back and he watched Empire and Return of the Jedi. He met with Billy D. Williams to just kind of meet him and kind of get him and really get the spirit of his character, because people put a lot of themselves into a character. So this is an interesting case where Anakin was played by Hayden first and then voiced by another actor in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, and I think equally like brought a lot to the character. So it would be to his benefit to watch all that, listen to the voice, listen to this, hear what the character is going through, and watch what the character went through during the Clone Wars, to kind of it all kind of formed the character that he was now, that he is now. I mean, they wrote it by design to fit into Episode 3, but it also kind of added a new layer to Anakin, and I think it would do Hayden well to do that, and just to watch Rebels too, to kind of see his relationship with Ahsoka, how it kind of ended. And from what we understand, there's rumors that now Hayden is going to be back as Vader in the Ahsoka show as well, maybe through Force Ghost or memories or flashbacks or whatever. But so that's going to be interesting too. Although I have a theory about the Ahsoka show that I'll probably share in another episode. But man, it's just really exciting. I think of all the Disney shows right now, like including animated, especially the upcoming shows, this Obi Wan show, man, this is right up there. I think I'm more excited for this show than I was the Book of Boba Fett. I think the Book of Boba Fett was exciting because it was, hey, it's a new Star Wars show and it's from a different angle and a different point of view, and maybe it wasn't as great as The Mandalorian, but that's because, I think if you compare it to the last thing you saw, and this is a completely different thing, then yeah, it's gonna fall short. But I think Boba Fett on its own, as its own thing in that corner of the universe, galaxy, it was okay. It was a good, it was a good show. It was a good story. It was, not everything Star Wars has to be so epic and fantastic. Some stories can be small, and I think this was a small story that had its flaws, but everything in Star Wars has had its flaws. I give it the pass because it was something that was planned and thought about and written out and then executed, as opposed to other things in Star Wars that I'm not going to get into right now because I already have, that were not planned at all. And we got 3 of them that are convoluted and don't make any sense. Anyway, but it's all Star Wars. You love it, you hate it. It's all Star Wars. Now, I gotta say, the thing about the Obi Wan show that's interesting is that it's only 6 episodes, and they're kind of really pushing hard the idea that it's this like mini series event, this TV event or whatever, Ewan McGregor has already gone on record as saying that if they asked him to come back as Obi-Wan, he would love to play Obi-Wan again. So it's going to be interesting how this show ends, and if it's left in a way that you could tell more stories, you know. So I'm torn, because if it's a great show, you're going to obviously want more. But if it's also a great show, you want it to be its own thing, and you don't want to mess it up. Like let it be, you know. So we'll see how that goes. Now, the thing about the Obi-Wan show that has kind of happened is that it's also simultaneously this month, it's the 20th anniversary, which I can't believe it, of Attack of the Clones, of the release of Attack of the Clones. I mean, I remember obsessively watching and rewatching the trailer for Attack of the Clones, the teaser trailer. I remember having recorded it onto my little camcorder, my little Sony camcorder, the little Super 8 little tapes. And I remember recording that trailer onto one of those tapes because I was going on a trip to visit family in Ecuador, where my mom is from. And I just remember like creating this whole little tape with like home movies of putting some home movies on there and putting that trailer as like the trailer before the home movies that we had shot began, because then I was going to show these home movies to my relatives. I mean, this is before you could vlog and YouTube and like create a video and then send somebody a link. Like, you couldn't do that. So I literally made a tape that I was going to bring onto with my camcorder, so that I can like plug my camcorder to a TV while visiting my family and show them all this family stuff that are our family quote-unquote blogs at the time, which was just family videos. And I just remember having that trailer on there and watching that trailer over and over and over again, and trying to explain to my relatives, who kind of like, they didn't really understand that this is, Star Wars is back, like, you know, because they knew Star Wars as like this movie from the late 70s and 80s, and they couldn't really fathom that there's just another Star Wars movie. They thought it was a sequel. They didn't understand who the characters were in the trailer. But I'm like trying to convince them like this is like the biggest thing ever, and they just weren't feeling it. But I just remember that Attack of the Clones fever, man. Just the anticipation, you know, wondering what it's going to be like to see Anakin, like this kid, this guy, this Hayden Christensen, this young actor, like, how is he going to do playing Anakin? Like, what's the story going to be about? What's this business about clones? Are the clones the bad guys? They look like stormtroopers. What's happening? You know, it was so interesting, and just, man, what a time. What a time where you had zero information. There was no plot leaks. There was literally like fan theories and people putting out fake information, fake news out there saying, oh, this is what the movie's going to be about. And it was just, you know, just fan fiction, basically. But, oh man, it was so fun. And I can't believe that was 20 years ago. I was a younger man. I was in the middle of college. I was literally, I think, in my like second year of college, right? Second or third year actually of college. And man, like, wow, what 20 years later, here I am with my own little Jedi Toy Masters, little Padawans, and I'm still talking about Star Wars. I'm still obsessing over trailers. And here we are, 20 years later. So Attack of the Clones, say what you will of it, it's 20 years. Rewatch it. Do yourself a favor and rewatch Attack of the Clones. I know I will. And my boys actually really enjoy Attack of the Clones because they love the Clone Wars show. So this is kind of like the prequel to the Clone Wars, and so it's quite interesting. And just from like a historical perspective, like the movie was historic. You know, shot on digital. You know, it was just these epic CG battle scenes. It was just such an epic for the time, the technology. I mean, George Lucas really pushed the envelope. A lot of it really still holds up, I think. A lot of it, yes, it looks like it looks dated, whatever, but you know, again, so does the original trilogy. But this movie, man, I remember I watched it twice in the theater, regular. Then I went to go see it with my friend, and we went into the city because there was a theater that had the digital projector. We went to go see it again to see if you can tell the difference watching it from a digital projector. Then the IMAX version came out, and I went to go see it in the IMAX with my parents and my brother. Man, I didn't really realize that it had been cut shorter because of IMAX. I know it felt a little different, because then once it came out on DVD, I bought the DVD and watched it a bunch on the DVD. So it took me a long time before I realized, yeah, it's okay, you know. Like by this point, the Phantom Menace had already started getting the bad news. Like the critics of the Phantom Menace started becoming more vocal, and you know, this movie was kind of like supposed to kind of shut all the critics up, and you know, and fix certain things. Like they kind of eliminated Jar Jar's involvement in the story, basically. Where Jar Jar was supposed to be like the Chewbacca throughout this entire trilogy, and his character was basically cut to just being important in the first one, and then in the second one he was kind of like this like background character who we know and who does do some stuff, but he wasn't part of the story, part of the adventure. And you know, and then the fact that, you know, because in episode 1 Anakin's a little kid and played by a different actor, and now here we are, he's older and he's a different actor, and it was like jumping into a Star Wars all over again. It's like a completely new movie, and it looked different, it felt different, it was totally new and different. And a lot of people didn't like that. I thought it was good at the time, and then slowly it became kind of like my least favorite Star Wars movie. It does have some boring elements to it. Although the last, you know, the battle at the end and all that, like that's just really epic and exciting. The arena battle, and then the Jedi's coming, and then the clone comes, and you know, the clones come and help, and seeing, you know, then the lightsaber battle, and then Yoda battling. Like it's like the ending, the last, like, I don't even know, 20 minutes of the movie, it's like this epic roller coaster ride. But yes, leading up to it, it is a slow burn. I can totally see kids getting bored, you know. A lot of the mystery elements in the movie kind of, you know, fall short, you know, and Obi Wan's detective work, and you know, this whole idea that there was this other Jedi, Sifo Dyas, and we don't know who the heck that is, and then all of a sudden there's this Count Dooku guy, and you know, where was he in the first movie? And you know, there's just a lot of stuff that even as a little kid, even little kids, I could imagine, and my boys too, they were asking questions like, who's Sifo Dyas? Like, where did Count Dooku come from? Count Dooku was a Jedi? Like, how, you know? So it forces little kids to ask a lot of questions, but I guess in a way that's a good thing, because then, you know, with books and comic books and even in the Clone Wars, you know, you get more answers to all that. So it works out in the end, but at the time it was a little frustrating. So Attack of the Clones, 20 years later, it's just amazing to me that it's been 20 years. I really wish I was able to go to Star Wars Celebration, because I know that's probably going to be a big thing for the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. And because Clone Wars is so popular and so beloved, really Attack of the Clones is like the prequel. It's the setup to Clone Wars. It's the beginning of the Clone Wars. I mean, it really sets it up. And the Clone Wars ran for 7 seasons, and you can't deny that Attack of the Clones is the movie that, you know, sparked this Clone Wars show. And before that, the short micro series, Clone Wars micro series that came out, and there is definitely like a love or an obsession with the clones. I'll be the first to admit, I at first I was kind of like, oh, these clones, they all look alike, they all look like Tamir Morrison and whatever. And they really have the idea of these clones and how different they are, and the different armor and the names and the nicknames and all that stuff. Like, I am totally sold on it. Like, I'm like obsessed with the clone troopers. Like, and so are my boys. Like, anytime I come across any like loose action figures, loose Clone Wars, clone trooper action figures, like I'll buy them just to have extra clones, you know, and like build up our little clone army. And I love it. I absolutely love it, and my boys do too. And it's all because of Attack of the Clones. Like, you know, so it's say what you will about the movie, but it did create this love for something that nobody thought there was going to be this like obsession over, and that's the clones. And then the Clone Wars show basically capitalized on that love, that obsession, and fed into that. And to this day, still, I mean, now we have the Bad Batch, which, hey, they're clones, and we have video games that are, you know, we had video games like Republic Commandos and stuff like that. That, hey, it's about clones, and the Boba Fett show, hey, Boba Fett's a clone too. So it's interesting. Clones and Mandalorians are like the two biggest things. Well, three. Ahsoka, clone troopers, and Mandalorians are the three things that came out of the Clone Wars TV show that are still around today, still popular today, and they're basing Star Wars content around these three things. There's Ahsoka. She's getting her own show. She was in The Mandalorian, and she was in the Book of Boba Fett. You have clones. You have the Bad Batch show that's coming for a second season this summer, as well as toys, and as well as, you know, just the popularity of these characters. You know, you have the obsession with Captain Rex, and, you know, and even Boba Fett, and then that leads into Mandalorian lore, and, you know, the fact that we got some more history about Mandalore and the Mandalorian show, and in the Book of Boba Fett, and like, man, it's just amazing that this movie, Attack of the Clones, like, sparked the Clone Wars, which then sparked the love of Mandalore, which then gave us the Mandalorian and the Ahsoka show, and this new era of Star Wars, this Mandalorian timeline, if you will, right after Return of the Jedi, leading into the sequel trilogy. Like, it's this time period that we're now focused on that is just like amazing. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk it? It all came back. It all came from Attack of the Clones. So 20 years, happy 28th anniversary Attack of the Clones. For those of you that didn't know, May the 4th be with you. I hope you guys had a great May the 4th. There was a lot of toy announcements as well. I'm not really going to go into them. I know, Hasbro did their live stream, and they announced a lot of figures. But again, it's just a lot of great figures. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of the same of the old stuff. Like, it's the same story. I mean, like, you're showing things that don't come out until like next year. We have to pre-order them now so that they can come out in a year from now. We might see it in stores, so you better pre-order now. And I don't like that. I don't like this being bullied into pre-ordering stuff. You know, I went to 2 different stores on May the 4th, and I saw nothing. Like, it was the same old figures, the same couple of figures on the pegs. You know, the Lando and maybe some micro fleet, whatever that new mission fleet figures, a bunch of that. I actually saw a few of those ships for mission fleet on clearance at Walmart. Same thing with Target, just very few things. There's still some Grogu toys, gimmicky toys on the shelves. You know, it's just, man, like, can we get some toys into the stores? But I don't know. The problem is that the pre-order way is working for them, because we have a lot. You know, we are obsessed with buying Star Wars toys. Those of us that love it, and we don't want to miss out. And pre-ordering is like the best way to get the figures to you. You know, especially as soon as they come out, so you don't have to go out hunting for them. Although I do enjoy the hunt. There is a thrill of the hunt of going to a couple of stores and finding figures, but that doesn't really happen as much anymore, and it's really annoying. It's really just annoying. And I don't want to pre-order anymore. Like, I don't like the idea. I don't like pre-ordering. Like, it's just, there's certain things that yes. Pre-ordering something, yes, you pre-order it, you're excited about it. Like, a movie's coming out on Blu-ray or there's a video game coming out, you pre-order it, yes. Because you're excited so that you can have it on the day of that comes out, right? Okay. But man, I'm a child of the 80s. I remember just going to toy stores and seeing just what looked like a limitless amount of figures and toys on the shelves. And so to now, like, have to, not be able to go to a store and see what you want, it's nice to have that dilemma when you go to a store and you're like, oh my gosh, look at all these figures. I can't buy them all, even though I want to. I can't remember the last time that happened. The last time I had that feeling at a store. I can't remember. So, anyway, guys, what do you think? What was your favorite release that they released on May 4th or pre-order release or whatever? What figure are you excited about? I really dig anything Clone Troopers. I like the Ahsoka Clone Troopers, the 501st that they're coming out with 3 3/4 inch. Oh man, I'm gonna need a few of those. What do you want? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below or hit me up on Instagram at Jedi Toy Masters. What'd you think of the Obi Wan show? Are you as pumped and excited as I am? Let me know in the comments. Give us a good review on iTunes. And guys, thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Check out some of our other videos and some of our other episodes where I rant about Star Wars and stuff like that. You can check out our reaction to the Obi-Wan trailer with my boys. Watching them is always fun. And guys, that's it for now. Remember,
The Force will be with you, always.